for joining me today. Today we have Alice joining us. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the audience who you are.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Beth. So my name is Alice Maisetti. I am an embodiment coach. I coach women, and I am a yoga teacher as well. Breathwork facilitator and mindfulness facilitator as well. But yeah, my whole work is around the concept of embodiment and empowerment.
Okay, so let's talk about how you got here today, where you came from, and your journey.
Yeah, so I am Italian. I come from Italy, and I spent my first 19 years in Italy. I moved then to London looking for my passion, looking for my independence, and that's a place that is really dear to me. I spent 7 years in London. That's the moment where I found yoga and I found spirituality, like the first awakening moments. That's when they happened while I was there. And from them, really, from that moment, I decided to embark on an even bigger journey, and I started traveling worldwide. I spent 3 years around Central America, South America, Europe, some Asia, a lot of time in India and Sri Lanka. And I kind of like build up my online community as well with the traveling and COVID as well, which kind of helped for my business. And then I found myself in the States, here in San Diego, California, because I fell in love with my now husband, who is American, and we decided to settle here. Wow. So now I am here. I'm still working online, but I do host the retreats worldwide. So like there's still movement around. But yeah, this is. I ended up here basically for love.
Yeah, and what better place than sunny San Diego?
Oh, we love San Diego.
Yeah. That's awesome. So in your journey around the world, when you were traveling, did you have these places in mind, or did it just happen as it happened?
Yeah, some places I had in mind. Actually, the only place that I had in mind was India, because when I wanted to become a yoga teacher and do yoga, and I wanted to be in the place where yoga was born, to feel the culture, to feel the energy, to feel the essence of what's really yoga, what's like the true meaning behind this practice that from the external just looks physical.
Yeah.
So what is it? And that's why I went to India. The other places I visited were mainly because I just felt a calling, to go there. Like I spent 7 months traveling in Sri Lanka.
Wow.
Sri Lanka is very close to India, so from India I traveled south and I went there. And then like my other two very big places where I spent most of the times in are Costa Rica and Mexico. Costa Rica, I remember there was a retreat that I wanted to join, like of a friend of mine, and then Mexico again was kind of close by, and everything kind of like built up, but the only one was India that I felt like, okay, yoga equal India, let's go. Yeah.
That's amazing. And where in India did you go for yoga?
So I went to the feet of Himalayas in a place called the Rishikesh. It's maybe 6-7 hours drive from New Delhi.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful, gorgeous place. There's the Ganges River, which is very sacred for Indians and for yogi. And it's by the hills, so the energy is very fresh, but you can still really feel the touch, the Indian touch. The culture is still very strong. Beautiful place that I would recommend to anyone who is interested in starting a yoga path, a yogic path. There's a lot of incredible teachers there, and a lot of variety as well in the schools that you want to go, or like the styles that you want to practice. But it's really easy. It's called the capital of yoga. Yeah.
And what style of yoga did you end up studying there?
I did Ashtanga, Vinyasa, and Hatha yoga. Which are in the 200 hours teacher training. These are like the classic styles that you usually do. But I will tell you that what really caught my attention and my interest more than anything was pranayama and all the breathing techniques. So sparkled something new for me. Because I come from a gymnastics background, so for me the asana, so the physical practice of yoga, was more comfortable for me to go into. Like, I was more connected to it, and I knew it more, so it was easier to dive into that. But pranayama was really like something new, like a new experience. What is it? Like, how is it possible that I can reach such deep states with just by breathing?
Yeah.
So yes.
Okay. And after you left teacher training, did you continue to lean more into the pranayama practice, or did you balance it equally with your asana practice?
I balanced. Yeah, so I actually continued practicing both the asana and the physical practice and the breathing. So with the asana practice, after my teacher training, I decided to embrace more of the Western culture.
Okay.
So before it was more Eastern culture, being in India, and I wanted something that was more Western, to kind of have a balance and a taste of both. So I ended up going to Dubai, and I did a course on mobility. It was very interesting for me to see and combine the Eastern with the Western practices, and see really how to create then my own style, like still having the spirituality. Like, I love the mantras, I love chanting, I love calling asanas in their Sanskrit name, but at the same time I also wanted something that was beneficial for people in the Western, because there's a lot of differences in the structure of our body, like the way that we hold ourselves. I'm talking about like the physical aspect.
Okay, yeah.
For example, like if there's a lot of differences physically talking between Western people and Eastern people. For example, you go to India and you see a lot of people eating in malasana, which is a yogi squat. So the hips are very open, so there's certain poses or certain sequences or practices that are very approachable to them. But then you go back to the Western and it's very hard for people, because most of the times we spend it we're sitting, or like we're in the car driving. So functional movement really helped me create something for people here, still having that spirituality and still having that yogic context, let's say. And then talking about the pranayama and the breathing, I went along with breath work. So I discovered the breath work, I studied free diving, and a whole new world of breathing, really, and the power of our own breath, starting to awaken in myself and then in my work.
How did you arrive at free diving?
So I was in Mexico, and I wanted to do something in the water, and I was thinking to do a scuba certification, and then randomly I just met this guy who recommended me to an instructor who became my instructor, and he said, "Oh, my friend Oscar is a free diver. If you want to give it a go." So yeah, I mean, why not? What is it? Let's try. And so that's when I started free diving, and I completely fell in love with free diving, and through that I also discovered even more breathing techniques.
What type of breathing techniques did you use or learn from free diving that you hadn't learned through pranayama?
Yes, so they're quite similar actually. For the preparation of free diving, you want to, or at least I've been taught to practice something that helps you regulate your stress levels, because you want to be as calm as possible. So there's a lot of techniques, for example, like breathing in, counting a number of seconds, holding the breath for a number of seconds, releasing, and then holding again. So working on in yoga we call them kumbhaka, the retentions. And I mean, with that I was noticing a lot of similarities with yoga. But really you want to adopt very relaxing and techniques that help you to distress and elongate your breath, like trying to hold it as much as you can, because then you have to go deep down in the water, and you really want to be as calm as possible, because if you do have a panic attack and you're down deep there, it's really scary. It can be really, really scary, and you don't want to rush up. You know, it can be dangerous. Like freediving is a very dangerous sport. But it's also amazing when you learn how to connect body, breath, and mind, because I mean, it's like one of the deepest meditations that I've ever done. Yeah,
it's you're almost forced to be in a meditative state out of necessity of survival.
Exactly.
But you chose it at the same time.
Right. Yeah, you choose it, but you have to work for it. You know, like you really have to stay committed and trust.
Yeah.
You really have to trust yourself and trust your body. In freediving, they do teach you how the body is able to hold the breath for certain times. Like they tell you really, like they teach you the physiology and what really happens to your lungs when you go down. You know, there's a lot of things that give you a certainty that the body can't do it. Yeah. And then so you have to work with the mind.
Yeah, the hard part.
Yeah.
After learning the breathing techniques with freediving or pranayama, where did you go from there with your yoga practice and, you know, the journey that took you to where you are now?
What did I do after that? I feel that, like, honestly, I'm always so motivated, you know, and there's always something new that comes in my life, and I'm always so curious and keen to try, you know, because I think I lose track of all the things that I do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But what did I do? I think I you know, while I am practicing or like studying or, you know, doing whatever thing I'm doing for myself, I am also teaching and sharing my passions and you know, my knowledge, what I just learned with my followers, with my clients, with my students. So there's always been this balance as well of, you know, I take something in, I learn it, and then I bring it to other people so that they can be inspired, they can do something. So I do think that after that, I continued doing retreats.
Okay. In your retreats, what type of things are you teaching? Are you solely focused on yoga and breath work, or are there other aspects of these retreats?
Yes, so my retreats, again, because my body of work is around embodiment, and I like to call it embodiment because embodiment for me embodies different practices. You know, it's not just the yoga, but there's breath work, there's meditation, there's ecstatic dance, there's somatic movements and somatic therapy, there's emotional release, there's circles, there's of course free time and, like, you know, enjoying the place where we at, because I always like to have people feel also the energy of the place where we are doing the retreat.
Yeah.
We do kirtan, you know, it really is a lot of different experiences, because at the end of this retreat, one of the main goals for me is for people to feel all of these practices, but also have the choice to select what they really like the most, and then going in that direction so that they can experience and feel more of themselves. So I really like this concept of freedom and allowing people to really experience themselves through so many different things, you know, because I think that that's life, you know. Life is so various, there's always so much. And if you look at it from, oh wow, like the perspective of I can do anything that I want, you know, I just have to like choose something. When you bring it in a retreat, you know, these are the practices. See what you like, see what really calls you, see what awakens something in you. That maybe that can help that person go into that direction and awaken something deeper within them.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I feel like a lot of retreats are singularly focused on one thing. And of course there's the community aspect that's kind of synonymous for a retreat. But this is interesting because it's almost like going to a buffet.
Yeah.
Where there's everything
nice.
out.
Yeah.
And you're like, you can try all of it. You can take all of it. And maybe you're going to go back for seconds and you're only going to get these 3 things.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah, it's like that. It's a big buffet with a lot of different food. have some Italian, have some Mexican, have some Costa Rican, you know, and taste yourself, like taste life, and really absorb whatever is calling you, and use your intuition. And that's another big point. Like use your intuition to tune into yourself, to tune into these practices, to unfold something more about your truth with authenticity, you know, being you. Who are you? You know, you have the choice. You can choose, you know, and for me that's very powerful, and I really want people to feel within and to feel in their surroundings that they can. They have the potential to do it. They just need to take action and do it.
How have your retreats changed in what you teach and your offerings from when you first started doing retreats to where you are now?
They've changed a lot because I changed a lot. But I've always been very authentic and very me, you know, along the journey and with my retreats. So the component that is always been the same was me and my spirit, you know, my zest for life and my action and my fire and my passion, you know, that's always been something present in all of my retreats. But the amount of practices, the amount of knowledge and experience that I have now compared to when I just started it's like a completely different person from that aspect. And they're way more fulfilling, they're way more complete. And I do have like an amazing team as well now, you know, that I work with. I have an assistant, I have helpers, I have filmmakers, photographers, you know, like people that are part of this journey with me, which I didn't have at the beginning. You know, it really became something that is solid now. And there's really space for people to go deeper as well. Like what's really different is the depth. They're way deeper. While before my retreats were more enjoyable, let's have fun, you know, let's practice, but it's also, you know, love. Now is all about depth.
You also are doing coaching, and how did you get into coaching? Is it like building off of the retreats, or is it something completely different?
It's very similar to the retreats. It's more like the online, always available experience that I offer all the time. While retreats, you know, depending on how busy I am or when I can do them, I do them. And I mean, they're very different in terms of the type of intimacy as well. Like if you're in a retreat, as we were saying before, it's a lot of community. It's a lot of like finding really your tribe. And for me, that's also really important, that people really are able to connect and link with each other, to really like come out of the retreat with friends. That's like a really big thing. While instead the individual coaching is more designed for that person, you know, like the struggles of the person, the obstacle, the challenges, and we work specifically for that person. So, you know, there's pros and cons, and I guess it depends on what you are looking for. I love both of them, but they're different also, you know. For me, retreats are a lot of work. Like at the end of our retreat, I am so tired, you know. It really requires me to give all of my energy because there's a lot of people there, while the one-on-one it's easier for me, you know, to handle because it's just one person, and it becomes so intimate as well. Like the beauty of like what me and my client create together, and like this special container, and also witnessing the growth and the transformation of this person from the moment that we met until the end is like wow. Like it gives me really like the fuel to continue doing what I do. It's really seeing people transform and change, which happens in the retreats as well, but you know, in the one-on-one it's more direct to others.
Definitely. How long after starting your retreats did you start coaching, and how did you find the transition to doing the more one-on-one work versus large groups?
So the transition was when I started working on myself on a more emotional and energetic level, but like through communication. That really was a big step forward for me, and it unveiled a lot of like more and more of myself, you know. So that's the moment when I started to introduce the coaching and the communication part. But I'll tell you, I mean, it's always been kind of like in the space for me, because even when I had an online community where we were practicing yoga all the time, and I noticed how it was becoming more like a coaching / yoga thing, you know, like people were asking and like asking questions that were deeper than, you know, how to do a certain pose, and it was becoming more emotional. And that's a moment where I really realized, like, wow, I think that I want to offer more, you know, than just yoga.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my coaching does have a lot of yogic background from, you know, the book of Patanjali and like the sutras, you know, all of the yogi philosophy. But there's also a whole new part more about authenticity and being yourself and working on your becoming intimate with your emotions. That is now part of the container.
That's beautiful. How did doing that work transform your coaching and how you are helping other people?
I help people with everything that I have, really, you know, everything that I've learned throughout the years. And the beauty of the coaching is that it's so uniquely designed for one person's needs, that, you know, they're all kind of different, you know, and unique in their own ways, because they really follow the personality and the energy of that person, the client. So yeah, I would say that it varies from person to person.
Yeah. What have been some of the challenges of doing all these things? You've put a lot of work in, many years. It's been a journey of transformation for yourself, for your community, for the methodologies that you employ. What have been some of the challenges along the way?
So one of the main challenge is when you are stepping into like a greater version of yourself, where you want to be bigger, you know, you want to be more recognized, you want to make more money, you want to like really help more people. That requires a lot of work, and it can be very challenging, because you have to stay committed, you have to invest a lot in yourself, and I'm talking about money, I'm talking about time, I'm talking about energy. You really have to put yourself out there and learn, and being curious to have as much access to you know, knowledge and tools that you can, so then you can bring them, you know, to others. But yeah, one big challenge was the consistency, and seeing really how, you know, there was a moment where my business really started to grow, you know.
Yeah.
Like I changed the price as well, like it became more of a actual thing, you know, and I also recognized how valuable it is. So that's why I decided to, you know, raise the price, and this is my business now. It's not like a game of teaching one class online. It's like I'm actually helping people transform and empower themselves. It's a big thing, you know. But this required a lot of I mean, there is a demand, you know. You have to really work your ass off, basically, you know, to make it happen. So that's been difficult, because I couldn't understand how to find the right client, how to talk to the right client, you know, all this marketing as well. I'm still working on it, but there's like, I can definitely see the change, you know, from being that young teacher to now being a coach and helping women that are, you know, older than me as well, and seeing them completely changed, you know.
Yeah. You also have a new journey that you're embarking upon. Do we want to talk about your pregnancy and what that has been like for you as a first-time mother.
Of course, yeah. So the first time I've always wanted to be a mom. The past retreat that I taught in Costa Rica, which was in February, I noticed how much I love retreats, but I also noticed how, I don't want to say easy, but like how comfortable it is for me now to organize a retreat. And I wanted to have a new challenge. I wanted to have something that was empowering me even more. And I, of course, also felt with my husband that we were ready to have a child, But in that moment, with all the energy of the women, that's like this group of women that we were, that I was working with at the retreat, I really felt like, oh, I am ready. Like, I'm ready to become a mom now. I feel that this is really what I want and what's in the space for me. And literally from the moment I came back here in San Diego, I came back home, I was pregnant already.
Wow!
It happened so fast. Literally, once, once we try, we said it, boom, pregnant. It was like, I knew, it was just in the space, I just felt it. And I couldn't believe how fast everything happened.
Yeah.
But now I've definitely embraced it, but I mean, and the moms, I'm sure that they will know very well, even better than me, but the first 3 months with the first trimester, that's been very hard, because that's when you start to really, you have to adjust, like, okay, there's a baby inside of me, but yet you can't really feel it, because all you can feel is the nausea and like feeling like shit, basically. And now that I've entered the second trimester, it's like I find myself back again, but with this motherly feeling, I can see my belly and I'm like, wow, it's real. So it's like very real now. You can see it, you can feel it. Yeah. What is it like? It's wild, it's wild. No wonder my retreats are called Wild Woman. Everything is wild in my life. I am wild, like this baby's gonna be wild. It's just mind-blowing. I feel that until we try it, like we're not gonna be able to experience it, because it's very hard to describe as well. It's so raw, it's so authentic, it's so natural as well. It's a miracle. It's really a miracle. Like sometimes when I pause and I reflect, I'm like, how is it freaking possible that a baby is growing like day by day, week by week in my belly, and I am giving this baby the energy and the nourishment it needs to, to grow and to come into this world. It's just it's mind-blowing, really, and it's beautiful at the same time, because you really learn so much about yourself, and a lot of like motherly feelings start already happening. I pay attention to my belly and the positions that I'm at, and then I practice with I feel I'm never alone. I feel I'm always with my baby,
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's sweet.
And it's like, you haven't even opened the new chapter yet. You're like in this transition, but it's like a ramp up, you know?
Totally, yes. Until then, I guess another journey, like the actual big journey will begin, which is taking care now of this baby that is alive.
Yeah. Are you doing anything to prepare for how your body is going to be different, how your embodiment of your practices will be different?
Yes. And that's a beautiful question as well, because I really care to share it with as many people as possible. Basically, I have my spiritual teacher that I chose to go to. I mean, I used to go to her even before. She's like my coach, but I chose to go weekly to see her, like from the moment I realized that I was pregnant. And I'm doing it until the end. So every week we come in the spaces together. There's meditations, there's talking, but there's really like tuning into the energy of the pregnancy and the bond between me and my baby, and the golden light and the spaces that a pregnant woman is, and seeing how everything changes week by week. I can feel the first 2 weeks I was feeling like more the energy of the baby up in the universe. I was like, something is not landed yet, like the soul has not landed yet. It feels very mystical, divine.
Ooh.
And then with the weeks going by, you start feeling more grounded, like, wow, this soul chose this place now. So that's amazing, because it really creates this loving, spiritual, energetic bond with your baby and with yourself as well, so that you can accept and welcome your body changing shape, and your heart opening and ready to love another being in your life, and really your soul and your essence expanding. Yeah.
How do you foresee, obviously pure speculation, but how do you foresee that your coaching, your retreats, your yoga, everything is going to change once you have this extension of you rolling around with you, trying to make sure it's not eating things it shouldn't be? Oh my God.
Yeah, I think it's just so aligned to my path and to my work. Working with women, it's like, what's more woman than pregnancy, so it just feels so aligned. Of course, I will need to have another assistant, like an ally, to help me with the retreats, or my husband comes with me, but there's going to be a way. I'm sure that I will find a way, because I do want also the baby to experience the beauty and the energy of the spaces that I hold, because they're very special.
Yeah, and it's like you have a community of people who love you, and naturally those people are going to want to be part of your life and your child, and because otherwise it would feel so disconnected.
Right, yeah.
And that's going to be awesome to have a little kiddo that can just jump right into a beautiful community.
I agree, so sweet. I mean, I see it already with my friends, how they're so loving and caring with me, and I mean, bringing it into the retreats, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, I have a retreat coming up in August with my husband. He does men's retreat, but I always go because I hold the classes, the yoga, the breath work, the ecstatic dances. So I'm really curious also to see how it will be to teach with a big belly, Yeah, but the baby is already part of these, so I just feel that it's going to be natural.
Oh
smooth.
my gosh.
Yeah.
What are you most kind of nervous about? I'm sure, I don't know, that there are some feelings of like uncertainty or apprehension, or just like the unknown.
Yeah, actually, Beth, I feel quite relaxed about this whole thing. It wasn't like that the first trimester, because I was already figuring everything out, but since I entered the second, I'm like, I don't know, I just feel so much more grounded and relaxed, and I just trust. I trust my intuition. I trust my body. I trust the divine. I trust the universe, and it's the most natural thing ever. I mean, we were born in that way. Like humanity was born in the same way. So it's very natural. So I really trust the natural process of it. Obviously, you don't know how it's going to be. Giving birth. But yeah, obviously, I don't know. I don't know how the birth will be, what's going to happen, if I will need to, because I'm planning a home birth in the water. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I hope that it will be, and I really want to stay in a place of trust, because that's really the most relaxed way to look at it. Otherwise, we get stuck into our mind and our thoughts. We overthink everything, and everything becomes stressful, So I don't think that there's a need to go in those spaces and hurt myself, and hurt my baby as well with the stress, So I'm really choosing to stay in a more calm mindset and practice as well, and speaking to people, because that always helps to make you relaxed.
Absolutely. What advice would you give someone who wants to do what you are doing in terms of yoga, coaching, retreats, or motherhood? What advice have you received? What advice would you like to pay forward to people?
Well, I would say, first of all, to anyone who is interested in doing, work on themselves, is to first check up with themselves and see where they're at, what are their struggles, and if they feel that there is a part of their personality or like themselves who they want to connect a little deeper with, and then depending on that they can reach out to the right person. What I really like to say all the time is to find the right support. Don't find any type of support, but really find the right support. And when I say right, I mean finding someone that you resonate with, that your energy resonates with, because that person is going to be able to hold you to your highest levels and really help you awaken, and transform. Because they'll be able to see you for who you truly are. And if you go randomly to get like random support, when there's no really intention underneath, it's gonna be harder to find your way, and it might be a waste of money as well. So really be intentional with your choices and ask questions and be curious, and at the same time don't be scared, like throw yourself out there, try it, give it a go, even if it's expensive. If you do believe that that's going to create transformation for you, that's exactly where you have to spend the money on. And a lot of people don't feel that. They stay there into but then I'm spending money, but aren't money supposed to be spent? Just spend them consciously, you know? Spend them for yourself. When you spend money on yourself and you invest fully in yourself, energy-wise, time-wise, it's the best thing ever. You're gonna have so much more about yourself that you'll uncover, and so much more to give to the people around you. Let it be your community, your friends, your family, or your clients. Also, when you spend money on yourself for something that's meaningful in your personal transformation, it is signifying to the universe that you are willing to build yourself up in a way that is of service to others. I agree, And I also want to say that when you do spend money consciously on yourself, this money comes back to you. It comes back to you. It's just energy. It really is energy, and it's a tool. It's a tool to get somewhere, to reach something, and then you bring it back multiplied. That's a really good way to look at it, because I never feel worried to invest in myself, because I believe that is going to give me what I need to be bigger, and to make money again.
Is there anything that you want to shout out that you're working on, that you want people to know about, or that you're creating that you really want to spotlight?
So at the moment I don't have any retreat coming up, because with the pregnancy, I'm kind of like embracing this beautiful phase of my life. I may do some workshops or something here and there when I'm going to Europe. I'm gonna be in Europe this summer, so the best thing that I always recommend to people is to follow me on Instagram at Maisetti. And also I think that it's always available is the coaching, the private mentoring, the container that is online, and anyone can do whenever they want, and it's very transformational as well. So that's a really good way to invest in yourself.
Beautiful. So as we wrap up, is there anything else that you'd like to discuss that we haven't covered, or any last words that you'd like to leave with everyone?
I just want to say to everyone who is watching this if you do want to be bigger in your life, if you want to play a big game, and if you really want to trust yourself and empower yourself, then invest in yourself. Put yourself out there, take action, change is always scary, but it's also the only way to really get to the next level. So, and I really want to say this with my heart, with my energy, with my body, because that really allowed me to be and live my best life. I'm so happy. I'm so happy, and it can be something small, but really I think it's the biggest thing ever, you
Yeah.
know, when we're happy with ourselves and with our lives. And I believe that this is because I never give up, I stay committed, and I take action. I go towards those challenges. I trust that I can do it, and I put myself in uncomfortable situations to then find comfort again. So that's the biggest recommendation that I could give to anyone who is willing to grow.
Yeah.
Physically, emotionally, mentally,
Spiritually. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining me. This has been wonderful.
Thank you for having me back.
And I'm so excited to see
Yes.
what's to come. Oh.